We have with us Barrister Samuel Agbeluyi, MNI, FCTI, the 16th President of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Barrister Samuel Olushola Agbeluyi served as President of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria from June 2023 to June 2025. He has since handed over to a very worthy successor in the person of Mr. Innocent Chinyere Ohagwa. In this sit-down interview, Barrister Agbeluyi presents his scorecard. Barrister Agbeluyi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let us begin by congratulating you on your successful tenure as the 16th president. Now, I would like to know, what are the high points of your 2-year tenure?
Thank you very much. It's been 2 years like 2 months, and that underscores the level of activities we have had in the Institute. For proper introduction and information, I came in as the 16th president of the Institute, meaning that I had 15 great men and women who have led the Institute even ahead of me. And so I came in June 2023. I was concluding my senior executive course in the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Study, Kuru Jos, as at that time. And so I started with my colleagues. And one important thing we need to state is that as an institute, the president is not a sole administrator. We are just the first amongst equal. And so we started with my colleagues in council and other stakeholders. It's been a great journey, and I will say to God be the glory. I thank God for the journey so far, and I thank my colleague in council, the members of staff, and other stakeholders, particularly the past president of this institute, who have labored greatly to get us to where we were before I took over, and they are still laboring to make sure that the standard does not fall, and that we are reckoned with as a foremost professional institute, not only in Nigeria, but even Africa and beyond. So it's been an exciting ride. I'm grateful to God. The movement were intense, the engagement were very intense, and at the end of the day, the records are there. People will see it and say, make up their mind and say their opinion about whatever they consider as my high point or so as the leader of the Institute for 2 years.
All right, sir. We believe that you must have set goals at the beginning of your tenure. So how far did you go in achieving those goals?
Well, as an institute, we are well structured, and I'm very happy of this. And I tell my colleagues, particularly those who are just coming on board newly, CITN is well structured, and kudos to our leaders who handed over the institute to us. We have structure, we have organs, we have committees, one checking the other. And so as a council, under the presidency of Dame Olajumoke Simplis, we had a strategic document, middle-term strategic document, bordering on developing the tax profession in Nigeria. We believe we need there to do more. And so that document gave us some areas to look at with the stakeholders so that we could get CITN to the next level. That meaning that I have my job cut out for me. CITN, you may break down the strategic plans, or whatever you may call it, into segments. You may call it agenda, you may call it plans, as you like. But I'm not too much a believer or lover of point or agenda, as because this has been wrongly used in Nigeria, particularly by some of our political leaders. 10-point agenda, 20-point agenda. At the end of the day, you can't count 1 or 2 that we have done very well. So I decided to stick to the strategic document of the Institute to add value to whatever I met on ground. And so my engagement with stakeholders maybe you say my colleague in council, members of staff, how do we improve their welfare? How do we make sure that they are in a very conducive environment to work, whereby they can give their best to the institute? Council member, you need harmony. Without harmony, you cannot achieve anything. And you have members who are professors, who are great people in different spheres of life. So you must have in your mind, or at all times, harmony. You must achieve harmony within council and even amongst all stakeholders. That is critical. It is by the time you do this that you have all the opportunity to do other things. So engagement with the stakeholder was very paramount in my mind, and my colleagues were aware of this. So we work as a team to ensure that, one, we add value to our members. We pride ourselves as a knowledge-based institute. Take knowledge out of CITN. What else do we have? We are not selling anything. And so the charter that set up the institute talks about setting the standard of knowledge required by any professional who wants to be tax professional in the country. That is basic. Conduct research into tax and related matters. That is basic. Carry out advocacy within the tax space in the country. That is basic. So, and we try to do a lot of this, situating this within the strategic plan, so that at the end of the day, we achieve what we achieve. Talking about the stakeholders, the past president, a major stakeholder, they were fantastic. They offered a lot of advice, because no matter how long you think you are prepared, and I've been in council for quite some time, and I've had almost all the committee chairmanship or office bearer office that you can think of, office bearer position that you can think of. But notwithstanding that preparation, you will still need to learn a lot. You will still need to consult with the stakeholders. And the past president were fantastic in this area. They were available to offer me advice. And so the secretariat was also the focus. Essentially, the job of the council, of the institute, is a part-time one. So it is the staff that you have that carry out the implementation of the implementation on day-to-day basis of our policy, of our strategic focus. So, as the president, you can't afford to be on part-time, even though you don't get paid as in salary for what to do. But you can't afford to be on part-time, because you need to be in touch with the registrar from time to time. And maybe I need to say this by way of information for the first time. Under my leadership, the institute that is 43 years plus, we had the first female registrar who has done very well under this tenure, giving credence to the fact that ladies are wonderful. So I needed to be on top of what was going on in the secretariat. The media, they are very important. Whatever you do, no matter how good in your objective your performances are, if you are not letting the public know, then it's like you have not done anything. And in a unique manner, as I was coming into the office, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, I think about 2 weeks before I came to the office as the 16th president of CITN. And he came with a major shift from what we used to know from the political leaders of this country. Set a good template to work on the tax policy leading to tax law in this country and administration. And we key into that, we partner with the government. We set up a presidential committee on tax reform, fiscal policy and tax reform. And I was, my humble self was a member of that committee. The chairman of that committee is a senior member of this institute. And we have a lot of our members in that committee, combined with other professionals and business people in the country. We participated actively in the drafting of that policies, which has turned to a bill, and the bill that has been passed now, soon to be assented to by the president. This was a major assignment for me as the 16th president, and even for the institute, because we play a very prominent front row assignment in this process. And we are happy that our contribution has greatly helped in shaping what was submitted at the National Assembly in conjunction with the contribution of other people. And it was easy for us as an institute to do that because most of what we have in the bills, most of those proposals are what those who have led this institute, even ahead of me, have been talking about 20, 15 years ago. CITN has been highlighting this, but we are very grateful that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came to the rescue of the country, because with the low GDP tax to GDP ratio, there was no way we could move on to finance our public expenditure. And unfortunately for the country, or fortunately, whichever we look at it, the revenue from natural resources, particularly crude oil, was dwindling. And so tax revenue has to come to the rescue. That has been in place for about 3-4 years now. But more importantly, we need to do better than we are doing. So as the president was coming in, I think the tax to GDP moved to about 10.6 as President Buhari was leaving. And the current information at my disposal is that as at end of last year, the tax to GDP moved to 13%. But on the day of the inauguration of the tax reform committee, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said he actually wanted that to move from 10.8% as at then to 18%. That's a massive movement. And that's a very audacious statement he made. I think we are moving towards that goal. There's no doubt in my mind that should these bills be assented to by the president, we are most likely going to achieve that quickly. But certain steps must be taken by our political leaders, and that will include strong political will. Strong political will to move against the non-state actor, to do the right thing, and embrace accountability and transparency. And it doesn't ordinarily, sometimes you wonder what human beings are set out to do. These things are not too difficult, because they are existing even in so many other jurisdictions. Just give the political will, support the administrator, support the tax practitioner in doing the right thing, account for whatever is given to you, spend it judiciously, let the people be able to relate with whatever you do, and of course, move against the non-state actors, because nobody is benefiting. Whatever they are collecting is not coming to public purse. So why should we retain them within the system? But I tell you, from what I know, it will take a lot of political will to do all this. I have no doubt that the president will do it, but it is not just at the federal level. We must also look at the subnationals. They need to do a lot about this. Once most of these things I've mentioned are done, we'll get to the promised land. So this has been a major part of what we have done in the past 2 years, myself and my colleagues inclusive.
We are not supposed to ask you, but what would you consider as your legacy or your most cherished achievements?
Well, maybe I may not want to use legacy, because I offer myself to serve, and I should serve. I don't expect any clapping for doing the basic thing I offer myself to do. But if you ask me, I think CITN, under my leadership in the past 2 years, have gained a lot of visibility and publicity. We have had a fantastic relationship with the media. And so I know the information I get out there. I know the feedback I get. And I said it at the beginning of this interview that no matter how good your activities are, if members of the public, the stakeholders, are not aware, then it's like you are not doing anything. So the informations are there. As recent as a few hours before I was to hand over to my successor in office, I was still getting calls from the media houses that if I could come and speak on one or two things to the members of the public. That was not the experience before now. I doubt if there's any major media particularly electronic media houses that I've not been to in the past 2 years. And it is to do the advocacy aspect of our job. Let the members of the public know their obligation, and let the government also know their obligation and their right. So we have done a lot of this, and the issues of the tax reform bills give us the latitude to do a lot of education, to do a lot of public enlightenment, being almost everywhere doing this, even outside of the country. I was in Belgium for a program, and impromptu, I was called to come and address the people. We have a lot of European, we have people from, some people from African country. And when I mattered the podium, because that's what I've been doing almost for 2 years as at that time, I was like marketing the country. I was talking to them, telling them that the tax base in the country is getting better, and it's going to get better even going forward, because the government has taken this step, they have taken this step, the professionals in the country are supporting, the stakeholders are supporting that kind of a thing. So when you are looking at investing in Nigeria, because most of the people in that gathering were tax professionals, lawyers, they are advisors to companies, or they are network individual as the case may be. Or had the opportunity of marketing the country to them, that if you come around, you are certain of what will be your tax obligation. There is certainty of law going forward, which is very critical to business plan and the likes. And to my surprise, maybe about 7 minutes, opportunity to speak. People held me back after that time for more than 30 minutes, engaging me in further discussion, taking my contact. Some were snapping the card for the program in order to reach out to me on LinkedIn and the other social media, whatever. So that is how far we are going in this area to ensure the feasibility for the institute. I'm happy we have done this alongside my colleagues, because in most cases it is difficult for the president, because some media houses will specify that they want the president to come, and when we had the opportunity, other people represented me. The feasibility of the institute has gone very high, and I'm very happy about this.
Now, we also notice that the CITN is gradually spreading its wings beyond the shores of Nigeria. What is the idea? What's the goal?
Well, thanks to the people, again, a lot of thanks to the people who have been here ahead of me. I know we have had this plan to have this society outside the country, but somehow it was not working. So when I came, I felt that's an area we needed to do, and we took steps, and we were able to get registered, to get the UK and DC Society registered in 2023, and specifically in October, I think October 27, 2023, we inaugurated that district. That was the first step outside the country for us, and because that gave opportunity for our members in UK who have more dual or more than dual responsibility, client in UK, client in Nigeria, advising people on what to know about investment in Nigeria, or to advise them on their tax obligation, and even in other countries in Africa. That has given them the opportunity, and we are happy. And that has also led to a kind of relationship with the Chartered Institute of Taxation of UK, CIOT. That has led to that. And because that was a success story, we have also moved to US, and we call them North America and DC Society. That was also inaugurated early this year. And that is bringing a lot of opportunity for engagement with several stakeholders beyond Nigeria internationally. And you agree with me that taxation is both local and international. The world has become a global village. There are a lot of people doing business in Nigeria and they don't have permanent establishment here. OECD is covering that with a lot of regulations coming out. UN is also doing the same thing so that we don't have loopholes in the tax system. Where do tax this company and where would they have their exception, that kind of a thing. Look at the international taxation generally. That has helped. So with the UK and US district, and under my leadership, we have covered the whole 36 states and Abuja, having district in all of them. The last was Lafia in Nasarawa State. So no state is without a district in Nigeria now, because what we are doing at the national, we can't possibly reach out to everywhere. So the district society are like our subnational government, whereby they can reach out, they can educate, they can do enlightenment, because we have a lot of job to do in this regard. So with the US, UK, and other districts in the country, we have 49 districts as we speak. That's a massive improvement on what I met when I came to the office. So that is there. And in addition to that, we have massively, and I will put it within context, increase in membership base. When I was coming on board, we are within costing towards 27,000 membership base. And I was like, I was praying and hoping and working that before I leave office, I hope we can hit the 30,000 membership base. Lo and behold, we are almost 32,000 now. I'm eternally grateful for the work the Institute has done, for the work the staff have done, and the kind of acceptance that the Institute is attracting from other people across other professionals across the country. As we speak, we have applications from 2 non-Nigerians, one Italian, I think maybe another person from the Asia. We are considering they are interested, they are desirous of being a member of the Institute, and so my successor in office will handle that. And once the criteria and all the conditions are met, possibly they become a member before the end of the year 2025.
That's impressive. Now, we also recall that early last year, that some members or some delegates from the Gambia Revenue Authority also came to the CITN for training. So do you have plans, or does the Institute have plans of extending this to other countries?
Thank you for that question. Yes, we have done a lot of work. And because CITN is the founding members as a country, as an institute in Nigeria, we have the founding members of WAUTI, which is West African Union of Tax Institute. So we've been to several countries in West Africa. I was the honorary treasurer of that body for about 3 years, and I was later the second deputy president. So in all our advocacies across the West African region, countries have realized the importance of CITN. So many individuals across these various countries are desirous of being members of CITN. That is on one hand, and the process for that is ongoing. I have no doubt that my successor in office will continue with that. But apart from that, the revenue authorities in this country, they have seen the gap, and they recognize that CITN has the capacity to train, to build capacity, to train their staff, and to also improve on their productivity. The Gambian, if I'm not mistaken, they've been here on 3 occasions, and the 4th batch is on the way to come here. And we have trained them in the area of oil and gas. Gambia is still prospecting for oil, but one of the things they have told us is that they don't want the kind of experience of Nigeria, and even recently that of Ghana. They want to prepare ahead of the actual exploration of oil in their country. So we have trained them. We have trained them in audit, particularly specialized audit and investigation. We have taken them through international terrorism, which is a massive area where many people don't have the expertise. Even within Nigeria and outside Nigeria, it's an emerging area whereby no matter your level in terrorism, you keep on learning and learning and learning. So they were here, and I'm very happy for the feedback we have gotten from the Gambian Revenue Authority, for those who have been here. We are also expecting, by virtue of this step we have taken, we are expecting the staff of the Senegalese Revenue Authority. We are in the process of finalizing that. And recently I was in Kigali for a conference, and some people met me from the Rwanda Revenue Authority, the Kenya Revenue Authority. They are also desirous of learning one or two things from CITN. So our image, our influence is gone beyond Nigeria. It's gone global. And I believe as an institute, we will continue in this trajectory to make sure that we impact not just Nigerian system, but system outside Nigeria.
Of course, that's very commendable. Now, we also recall that the 26th annual task conference, which was held in Abuja, FCT last year, was almost mad because of the withdrawal of the venue, the International Conference Center. We would like to know, how were you able to pull off such a successful annual task conference despite the challenges?
That is one major experience I had that shook me as the president of the institute. I was just in the office, and somebody sent a message to me that we may not be able to use the facility in Abuja. So I called the staff in Abuja to go and confirm that. Before they could confirm, I saw His Excellency Yeson Wike on the television. And the only thing I could remember I heard from him was that all bookings cancelled. And I was like, where is this coming from? Is there any emergency in the country? But whatever happened, government is government. So that was barely a month before the conference in May 2024. And the strength of this institute became very clear to me, the resilience, the loyalties of members, because advices started coming from many places. The people I didn't know were offering advice. Do we move it to this state? Do we keep Abuja as our location, but look for another facility within Abuja? Effectively, we got Abuja Chamber of Commerce, and we are happy that we are able to surmount that kind of level of exigencies that we never planned for. And I'm happy 2026 Annual Task Conference was one of the best we have had in the institute.
Now, you're leaving behind a strong institute as well as a capable successor. What are your expectations?
Growth, positive impact, continuous positive impact. One, as said at the beginning of this interview, that the president is not a sole administrator. There's a lot of meaning to that. Two, I've just handed over to a technocrat, an experienced task administrator who rose to almost the #1 position in FRS as coordinating director, and who is I summarize him each time I want to make a statement about him. That's Mr. Innocent Oagwa, FCTI, the 17th president. My statement is that it's always that Oagwa is a very good person, he's a good man. And because he's a good man in terms of competence, in terms of character, in terms of what he stands for, his value, and in terms of his belief in the institute. So I believe going forward, under his tenure, we'll be expecting massive growth, more than what I was able to achieve. And because of the institute, because of the person coming, because of the country Nigeria, and because of the black race, because we need to move away from underdeveloped, developing to developed country. We have all the capacity to do it. And a man from Burkina Faso met me outside this country recently and said, everybody is looking up to Nigeria. The moment Nigeria move, other African countries will move. And for these several reasons, I'm going to support him because that's the only way to go. He's a great man, and I'm happy that the institute is having that kind of person who combines lots of good qualities coming on board, taking over from me. And I will also pray for him. I wish him the best. I wish him all the best he can ever ask for.
Of course, we wish him all the best. Finally, before we let you go, where do you go from here?
I am one, because God has been good to me. That is basic. I can't deny in any form, under any circumstance, that God has been good to me. Before I came here, I'm a stockbroker, I'm a tax practitioner, I'm a lawyer, I'm a chartered accountant, and I'm a farmer. I have my farm where each time I pay the stipend I pay to the workers, I feel elated that I'm also contributing to the GDP of the country. I'm an employer of labor. And I'm a commissioner of the Tax Appeal Tribunal. So, lot of things waiting. I'm only struggling that I'll be able to rest because it's like I'm too used to jumping up from the bed. Hey, is it Sokoto today? Is it Maiduguri tomorrow? What is happening in the National Assembly? How are we responding to this news that is coming? Is corporate responding? All those kind of analysis, all those kind of work. I'm struggling within my mind at that. I hope I'll be able to slow down. But slow down or not, there are a lot of other things calling for my attention. Even the family. I have a young man, young boy in my house. Sometimes my son, when I come, he looks at me, Dad, and I say, within my mind, his sister had a lot of me. I was carrying her up and down, but the young man has not gotten that kind of attention from me. So at least in the home front, I will also be available. And I'm also the president of my town union, Mesile Progressive Association. It's an honor. Mesile is an ancient town. It's an honor to lead great people. The first senator from Ijesa land came from my town, Ijesa Ife division, in the old western region. The first senator from that division came from my town. So for me to be the president of the association in that town, the association that is held in high esteem, then I'm grateful to God. So a lot of work for me ahead. So I will keep on believing in God, doing what I know how to do best, and believing that we add value. Because the essence of all this is just to add value to humanity. Once we're able to do that, every other thing will take care of itself.
Of course, and also joining our voice to that of the man from Burkina Faso. He said that once Nigeria moves, every other African country moves, and we believe we'll get there.
Sorry.
It's on that note that we thank you, Barrister Agbeluyi. We wish you all the best, and we know that you are still with the Institute to lend support to the 17th president.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the partnership that has existed between us and TaxMatter. TaxMatter is a great stakeholder in CITN. They've done very well, and that is why we keep on appreciating you for the great professional assistance you have given to us. Thank you very much, and may God bless TaxMatter.
Amen. Thank you, and may God bless the Institute and Nigeria at large.
Amen. Thank you.
This is wishing Barrister Agbeluyi the very best in his future endeavors.